Yellow leather. Yellow leather.
Yellow leather. What is yellow leather? Is that a verbal warm up? What is that?
It's from Anchorman. He's just
yellow leather. Okay. You're in San Diego. You're obligated to quote that. So.
Once a day. No one wants it, but
yellow
I still
leather,
do.
Yellow leather. Okay.
Yellow leather.
Kwaku, welcome
Yes,
back.
sir.
Here we are, futuring around and finding out on Future Around and Find Out. I'm Dan Blumberg. I'm here with Kwaku and I. We're going to talk about a couple of stories that caught our eye this week. We're going to grapple with emerging tech. We're going to attempt. We'll see if it succeeds. We're going to try to steer the future in the right direction. We're going to talk about people who are trying to do likewise. So we are recording this right as the SpaceX IPO is underway. We don't know how it's gone, but regardless, there is likely a trillionaire on planet Earth right now, a single individual, which is insane and all sorts of not good, I think.
Implications? Implications is the word.
Implications, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
a real life Mr. Burns. How about that?
Yes.
Excellent.
And then we're going to talk about, some future, multi-billionaires, Sam Altman and Dario Amodei. They both wrote letters this week talking about the risks of AI, how we should plan for the future, things that government policymakers ought to do. Dario's letter was actually quite specific. Sam's, despite it having the title of Our Plan, was very much lacking in specifics.
I know you said it's called Our Plan. Did you get a call about this? Did you get a draft? Because I don't know if I was part of Our Plan.
Our Plan, yes.
You know what I mean?
Let me give you the full title because you'll really feel left out then. Built to benefit everyone, but maybe not you. Our Plan. That is the title of the essay. So it's called Our Plan. There's no plan in here. There's no plan.
There's no hour in there. Just it's like what?
Okay. And it's just there's a lot of passive voice. It doesn't say anything really declaratively. Like just for as one example, like he says, we've long believed there should ultimately be an international organization that helps coordinate AI efforts to reduce catastrophic risk. And then he goes on, one goal of such an organization should be to make it possible for the world to take coordinated action, including slowing frontier development when needed so societal resilience, safety, and alignment can keep pace. But I'm a bit of a word nerd, but I'm kind of picking on like how this is written. One goal of such an organization should be to make it possible for. Jesus fucking Christ, just the world should take coordinated action, including just say it. And that kind of construction, maybe they just need a better editor. I don't know, but I think it's deliberate. Like it's like we're saying it, but we're not really saying it. Like
it's very deliberate.
It should be made like it's kind of like you all figure that out. Like we should have this organization, and that's kind of how it's written, but it's not actually calling for it really. That's where it's especially ironic that the thing is titled Our Plan, because it then kind of doesn't really make one.
It doesn't make one. There's no hour. Why are we writing this thing as if it's the Constitution? It's not the Constitution. And the irony of all this is this feels like government language and there's no regulation.
Yeah.
So maybe it's ironic, maybe it's purposeful, where people can point to it and be like, well, that reads almost like a law.
Yeah. So let me move on to Dario's essay. So here's just one representative paragraph. We should model AI regulation on agencies like the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. Frontier AI models like airplanes should be required to go through technical testing and auditing, and their release should be blocked or reversed as a threat to public safety if they do not meet high standards for safety, et cetera, et cetera. He says he likes the Trump executive order from last week. He thinks it doesn't go far enough. But he just speaks much more plainly. And there are like a number of specifics here. Like he's calling for things. And I appreciate that. And I know that we've talked about Anthropic and they're sort of savvier marketers than OpenAI. And he talks about in this piece, he once again reiterates this could disrupt and take away a lot of jobs. He's not really he doesn't say jobs apocalypse. He's not using that language. But he's saying it again. He's not walking away from that. And he says, it's become popular in AI industry circles to view this as a PR problem, to say that AI needs, quote, better marketing. I reject this framing completely. People are worried about AI because they correctly perceive that its risks are real, not because AI CEOs have been insufficiently Panglossian. He uses a very big word there.
What? Can you define that word for us, please?
Excessively optimistic.
Thaned you.
Yeah,
I knew you.
Actually, to be honest, I'm going to admit that I had to look that one up. I've seen that word before, and even I was like, I'm going to. And so I Googled that. But I appreciate that he's saying people are correctly worried about AI and that it's not a marketing problem and that there are specifics in this document. And I want to fanboy less on Dario because I think he's incredibly savvy.
I was going to point that out. You're fanboying. There's a little,
and I know, I don't like it, but I do appreciate good writing, and this is good writing. And I mean, I could quote lots more of it. Like it is specific. There are bullet points. The bullet points are they're more specific than what the Pope called for recently.
That's an interesting bar. That's I'm like, I mean, we're not asking Dario to quote the Bible or read in Latin. I'm just, it's an interesting bar that we have set up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I don't know if Sam can do either.
But just as one example of a specific, the government should have the power to block or deter deployment if a model is determined to have unacceptable risks. And so the critique here is that Anthropic is so big, at a certain point, once you're so big, government regulation is actually often good. It helps you create regulatory capture and keep competitors from being able to comply with regulation. So that could be a criticism here, but I don't think that's why he's writing this. I think he's actually writing this because shit could go wrong. And maybe I'm not being cynical enough for once, but I appreciated the specificity of this. And it's in such stark contrast to Sam Altman's thing that says our plan, and yet it doesn't really spell one out. Or if it does, it's like, yeah, y'all figure that out. It would be good if you all figured that out.
So I think we need to level set here. Both of these guys are in it for the money. I mean, we just need to state it. And because as you were talking, I was like, yes, Dario he's been that dude since the beginning, since he left Anthropic. When I hear him talk on other podcasts, he is that person. He's very consistent.
Yep.
Their product has been consistent, and it's been about safety. And Sam reminds me of Billy Idol. Billy Idol would be a great person, to compare him to. So Billy Idol in the 80s, he had a look, he had a thing, he snarled. For people who don't know who he is, he's a pop singer who's kind of has punk roots. And he had the spiky hair, all of that. This is in the 80s. Billy Idol found a thing, and that was his thing. A lot of other pop stars, they evolve. They have different looks. You think Madonna, even John Mayer, they have different looks. Billy Idol's like, this is my thing. This is who I am. And you go to the grocery store or whatever, Billy Idol is that dude. I was once on a flight with Billy Idol. Hair looked exactly the same. You know what I mean? He was wearing some comfortable shoes and some sweatpants, so that part was weird, but he was the same person. Okay. And seeing him as this person in different contexts, sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's weird, but it's like he never changes. That's his thing. In a way, that's Sam. Sam's going to do the same thing. Well, I don't know. And, because he does the hush tones.
Yeah, he does like that. Yeah, he does. Yep.
Well, this is a really powerful technology, and we need your help to protect us all and make sure that the worst doesn't happen. He's that person. And I feel like we're in the context of seeing him in the grocery store saying, well, I don't know. These tomatoes might be better for my sauce. Where we're not taking him seriously, and it feels more like a shtick than something genuine. And
100%. Yeah, I mean, he'd already long sort of lost me as someone that I trusted. So I did read both of these things through my own biases from previous actions. These documents don't come out in a vacuum.
Right. And with Dario, it's sort of like I'm waiting to see if that's the shtick or if he evolves and changes to reflect. I mean, right now he doesn't have everything he's saying is accurate. Not much has changed. That's the irony. Not much has changed from what Sam was saying, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? I think it's 4 years ago to now. We don't have any regulation. They started to do it, but under Biden, and then Trump's like, no, we're getting rid of all of that until last week. Let's roll that back. There's a theme there. We won't get into politics. Not much has changed, but it feels like the stakes are higher. and now the money's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Why, I'm just asking, why is it that Anthropic and OpenAI, they want to go public so quickly? They don't even have...
They need to. They need the money. They've tapped basically all the private money that's out there. Oftentimes you would turn to like the Gulf states when you need like major capital money, but the Iran war has sort of messed that up in a way. And so like
connecting dots.
So I mean, I didn't make that connection, but they've already tapped all the private capital that they can tap. And so now they're in a race to see who can go first, because I think there's an advantage in whichever one, Anthropic or OpenAI, gets out to market first. So they both filed for their S1s, and it's going to happen some point this year for each of them. That's what it seems like. But they need the money, and this potential like price war that they may get into is not going to help that. That's just going to accelerate that they need the money. One of the other interesting things on the positive side of what AI can do, this is also in Dario's letter, he talks about biomedical stuff. AI can accelerate drug discovery. He's saying, hey, this regulatory infrastructure that has existed for approving a new drug is not going to work when so many drug candidates are going to be put into the pipeline and the pipeline is going to choke. And also, and this is like several levels of extrapolation here, that with AI allowing different types of testing and statistical modeling, you may not need the length of time to review a drug that you might have previously needed. And so anyway, he's saying like, adjust that process now.
There's a real interesting piece there that kind of freaks me out a little bit. The last part that you mentioned, which is, with AI modeling, it won't have to take as long because, we don't have to wait as long. We don't have to do the human trials because we've done it in the AI. That part freaks me out. It's like, all right, now we don't need to test on humans. We did the modeling. Who built the model?
Mm-hmm.
Who stands to profit off of the model, eliminating that step and providing new drugs sooner?
Yeah. But I mean, who stands to benefit is also people with rare diseases where no one would even bother to sort of invest the time in making a new drug for some, uncommon disease.
If it works. And
if it works, sure.
And there's a nuance to it. So a buddy of mine works for this organization called Every Cure, and I'm gonna mention them. And what they do is they use AI to sort of match drugs that have like secondary benefits to people with rare diseases. So It's like, I'll use this for an example. Like Botox apparently can help with headaches. I don't know if you know about this. Like if you suffer from migraines, Botox can help with migraines. So that's one that's a little more common, not to you, but to other people. And so I forget the founder's name, but he suffered from some really rare disease and he was in medical school and he was doing all this research and he found that connection. He's like, this is something that other people could benefit from. To me, that is a great use of AI because you are doing that testing piece that you're talking about, where it's like, all right, labs don't necessarily or have the time to do this testing, or there isn't someone with medical training who has the time and the ability to do this for random diseases, where as opposed to like, let's take all these doctors and have them work on cancer or larger diseases. That's a great use. But there's still, I'm going to use the term, a human in the loop. There's still the testing that happens. When you're like, no, we don't have to do it. We've tested it in the model. That freaks me out.
It's a great problem to have if like you're clogging the backlog of like potential drugs that could have benefit. It's still a problem though.
Yep.
And so anyway, the point that Dario calls for in this essay is just like, hey, FDA, like should probably start looking at this process now. Maybe change some things. I want to move on very far from like the potential benefits of AI to something a lot darker. New Scientist reports this week that Ukraine has already used AI, fully autonomous, no human in the loop, drones to kill people. They sent a drone. This happened 2 years ago, actually. A senior figure in the Ukraine defense industry told New Scientist that a test took place 2 years ago involving fully autonomous drones had to destroy anything in a given area, and there were confirmed casualties. So they sent some quote unquote Terminator drones into this area, and we're just like, kill everything. And it's not feeding back to a person. Again, even if there is a person in some cases, like they may be overwhelmed and there may be like a lot of drones they're monitoring, but there was no person involved here. This quote is attributed to the Ukrainian defense official. We just launch it and we know everything will be dead. Everything that will be found in that particular area will be dead. There is no connection to the drone at all. You cannot see video, nothing. Everything it sees will be killed. And they framed this as it was a test. But that doesn't compute for me because they're dead Russian soldiers.
Oh, man. Hey, let's run a test and just have an AI bot just kill anything that it sees.
Yeah.
And ironically, we can't see what it's doing. You know, we're going to send this thing out to cause all this destruction, but I don't want those images in my head. The only person being protected in this scenario is the person who is launching the bot or the drone. That is insane.
Maybe, now, or maybe they couldn't. The connectivity didn't work, or was going to be too slow, or whatever. But like, I don't know that it's done for the psychological safety of the drone operator. I think it's more just.
Oh, that's more of an ancillary benefit. I think just like an added bonus.
Yeah. You know what I think that drone operator is going to see some scary, dark shit, whether it's this one or not. So.
Oh God.
But yeah.
Let's. I'm gonna put a prediction out here. That's coming.
Yeah. No, I know.
That's coming. And I'm gonna go further. It's not just going to be in war. That is something in this country we got upset when ICE officers killed people, U.S. citizens, while they were protesting. Who do you get upset at if that's a drone, or
exactly
a robot dog, like the Black Mirror version of it? Who do you get upset at?
Yeah, and I think these systems, these companies are sort of deliberately designed to, obfuscate responsibility. So Ukraine does have a policy in place that does not allow this. That's why they're saying this was a quote unquote a test. This same official says every step of this drone warfare can either be manual or automatic. We're not allowed to do the final stage automatically. And this is the very kicker of the article. He says, I would love to.
Of course he would.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If you have the capability, how desperate do you have to be to use it? Now, a friend recently told me, that friend was you, that the Ukraine war has reached the point where it's longer than World War I.
Yeah, just this week.
Just this week.
And resembles it too, in a very high-tech fashion, right? Like, World War I was trench warfare and, plotting progress. And they're not using trenches in the Ukraine war. They're using what are called, I just read this yesterday, called dugouts, like they're digging a lot deeper. But basically, you can't go anywhere because the drones see you wherever you go. The drones see you and they open fire. And so there is effectively like a front line that is not moving much, and it's because of drones. So yeah, the Ukraine-Russia war, and actually, if you want to go back, others would argue that it's gone on way longer than World War I because of the Crimea invasion in 2014.
Right.
So,
right. My point is, in any scenario, right now we're talking about Ukraine, but in what scenario are you desperate enough to do this? If you're living in an area, in any part of the world, where people are just randomly attacking where you live, and someone's selling a service for a drone that will fly around your house and take out anybody who's identified as an intruder, why would you not do that? Like, where my parents are from Ghana in West Africa, where they're from, it isn't that scenario that I described. But I was talking to my mom once and I was like, oh, so you have a dog, on your property there. And she's like, yeah, everybody has dogs. And it's like the first version of it, it's like, hey, if someone hears someone barking, they're not going to try to like scale the wall and go in. And it's like, you and I both have dogs, we leave the dog, someone comes to deliver a package, the dog just barks. No one sees that my dog's a tiny dachshund boxer mix or whatever she is, but they hear the bark and they're like, all right, this house maybe isn't for me. I'm assuming, what does that look like with a drone? She sounds a lot bigger than she actually is. I just want to, shout out to Callie. Anyway, but if it's the same thing where it's like, all right, I hear that drone sound. I hear that drone sound around that house, so I'm just going to keep moving. We have a version of that now. It's called the Ring doorbell. You see the Ring doorbell, you're like, oh, there's a camera in there. At what point, how desperate or how normalized this is have to be before you invest in it? This is coming. This is a police state.
I mean, the real future question is like, even if you wanted to prevent this, like, how do you? I mean, there can be international treaties, and I guess I'm grateful that Ukraine has a policy right now. They're not doing this, and they're right now, yeah. But how do you prevent this? And also, how do you prevent this from getting into private hands? Because the cost of drones is so low, and it's not even necessarily a nation state issue.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's happening. I don't know how to rescue us from this hole I've dug us.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we take a break?
There it is.
Why don't we take a break, and then we're going to come back real quick with past, present, or future.
Love it.
Kwaku, what do you got?
All right. So it was interesting, the last piece that we just discussed, the AI drones in Ukraine, and then the piece before that where we were talking about drug testing, not even just drug discovery, but drug testing with AI, and the idea of changing the sort of process that the FDA goes through as a result of this. Past, present, or future. AI as a business or as an industry influencing government decisions and government policies. Which way are we trending?
It's very much trending up. I mean, for right or for wrong. I mean, and actually, I could honestly answer I could go with past on this one and invoke our buddy, the new trillionaire, Elon Musk, and Doge. All those stupid cuts, and the reason we have, what is this worm that's in the cows in Texas now? What's it called?
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah, anyway, so the Doge boys went and like cut all sorts of stuff. They would ask, AI, hey, Grok, how is the U.S. government money being wasted? And it's like, oh, let me tell you. And then, okay, great, fire all those people, including the people that like would prevent Ebola and whatever this worm, I forget what the name of the worm is, that's like very scary and could kill a lot of cows. Screwworm. There was a program to like combat screwworm, which can kill a lot of cattle. They cut that.
I got to be honest, 20-year-old minds, those are the people that should be monitoring this with AI. Please continue.
Yeah, no, so all the 20-year-old fresh-faced, Doge boys and their AI. So it is past. There's actually precedent. And also I think it is increasingly going to be future. I mean, look, on a very small scale, I ask AI for some strategic questions. I try to keep myself in control of those questions. It's not fully autonomous. And this, again, just to quote the Dario letter one more time, he writes about this, like that the power of intelligence is so great that like if a company or a nation does not have access to the latest models, can't afford it, or for whatever reason doesn't have access, they're at a significant disadvantage. So what does that world order look like? What does that competitive landscape for businesses look like? That's his prediction of like how powerful this stuff is.
I think yes to everything that you're saying, and then can't forget the money in the room. What is Bernie Sanders talking about doing right now?
Well, he wants to create. I mean, he and others want to create a sovereign wealth fund. That's what we talked about just recently. That the U.S. people would own 50% of all these AI companies. Trump is open to that. Sam Altman is open to it. Back to the profitability question. That's a rescue. That's a government bailout. Like, is OpenAI too big to fail? Because he is, Sam, of all the AI players, is the one who seems to be the most in favor of like government taking some stake. So on the one hand, I can see why Bernie Sanders is saying it, because it creates this wealth fund that can fund all these things, and people don't have jobs. But also like kind of plays into Sam Altman's hands a little bit if OpenAI is like destined to fail. And I honestly, that's a major question. That was when I stopped using ChatGPT like 6 months ago, that was one of the reasons why. I was like, I don't think this is long for this world. I think Microsoft acquires it at some point. Again. Or maybe Elon, just as a fuck you to Sam, acquires it. That's where I think OpenAI goes. Or it gets embraced by the government and gets a bailout.
Either way, there are financial incentives to integrate AI into systems especially if we're saying that the people own it, the government owns it, all of that, which then will influence policy.
Yeah.
It is definitely falling under the too big to fail category in my mind. And as a result, whether it is AI benefiting the government, so it's influencing government policy or government decisions, or companies feeling that they need to be able to find more avenues to generate revenue. And so the government's like, all right, I think this benefits us. Let's do this. Or the scariest version of this. We know we said we weren't going to have drones or AI make decisions around life or death without a human in the loop, but we're desperate. They're on our shores. We need to make this choice. We need to do this. And I think the real question is, where do regular people, citizens, us, where do we have a voice in this?
Yeah. We should have a plan for everyone. Do you think... Do you think that we could have like our plan for everyone?
I was going to say a plan really for everyone's a little clunky. Why don't we just call it our plan?
Our plan.
You know?
I'm feeling like Crosby, Stills, and Nash like swelling like our house. Like it's just swelling.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Two cats in the yard, bro. Two drones.
There you go.
Two drones in the yard.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's a sick joke.
Okay. We'll mic drop on that. Quick programming note. We're going to be off next week. It's going to be Juneteenth on the 19th. Kwaku, thank you. As always, Future Round and find out. Tell a friend. FutureRound.com.
Go Knicks.